The storm arrived without warning. One moment, Mount Asahidake stood quietly beneath drifting clouds, its volcanic ridges disappearing into mist. The next, the sky collapsed. Wind howled through the trees, rain slashed sideways, and visibility dropped to almost nothing. It was the kind of weather locals warned hikers about, the kind that erased trails and swallowed sound. 2 men from Tokyo had entered the mountain the day before. They never came back. By Monday morning, search crews were already in the air. A helicopter cut through the fog, its blades echoing against the slopes as rescuers scanned every ridge, every crevice, every stretch of forest where someone could be stranded or injured. Hours passed. No sign of movement, no footprints, no voices. Then, just as daylight began to fade, something unnatural appeared below them. In a clearing south of the summit, carved into a wetland surrounded by forest, was a massive SOS sign. It wasn't scratched into the dirt. It wasn't spelled with stones. It was constructed from trees. 19 birch logs, each nearly 16 feet long, laid out cleanly and deliberately to form 3 unmistakable letters. From the air, it was impossible to miss. The crew felt relief. Whoever built this was alive. Someone had the presence of mind and the strength to ask for help. The helicopter circled once, then radioed the coordinates. Ground teams rushed toward the site, convinced they were about to rescue the missing hikers. But when they finally found the 2 men, everything unraveled. They were discovered nearly a mile north of the SOS sign, emerging from a cave. They were exhausted, disoriented, battered by the storm, but alive. As they were lifted into the helicopter, rescuers praised them. "You did the right thing," one said. "We never would have found you without that sign." The hikers stared back in confusion. "What sign?" The rescuers laughed, thinking it was shock. "The SOS, the one you built." The men went silent. Then one of them spoke. "We didn't build anything." The helicopter went quiet. The SOS sign remained visible below them, massive and undeniable. And suddenly, no one knew who it belonged to. The following day, a second team was dispatched to the clearing. This time, they weren't looking for survivors. They were looking for answers. Near the base of the SOS sign, partially hidden by vegetation, they found scattered human remains, bones gnawed by wildlife. No body, no clothing intact, just fragments exposed to the elements. Nearby lay a backpack. Inside it, a Sony Walkman, 4 cassette tapes, toothpaste, a bar of soap, and a towel. No identification. At first, the assumption was simple. Whoever built the SOS had died before help arrived. But questions surfaced immediately. How did a person strong enough to cut down 19 trees, drag them across uneven terrain, and arrange them with precision, die here, alone, without leaving a clear trail? And how did they even get here? The SOS sign sat 2.6 miles south of the summit, far off any marked trail. There were no paths leading to it. Reaching the clearing required navigating steep cliffs, dense forest, and crossing the turbulent Chubetsu River. It wasn't a place people wandered into by accident. Japanese police acknowledged something felt wrong, but they pressed on. The remains were sent for analysis. When the results came back, the mystery deepened. The bones belonged to a woman. She was approximately 5 feet 3 inches, type O blood, between 20 and 40 years old. She had suffered multiple fractures before death. Based on decomposition, she died between 1 and 3 years earlier. No missing persons report matched her description. She had no name, and somehow she had either built or been present at the construction of one of the largest emergency signals ever found in Japan. Then came the tapes. Investigators placed the first cassette into a player. Music, anime soundtracks, clean recordings, nothing unusual. The second tape, more music. The third, still nothing. Then the fourth tape began to play. Static filled the room. And then a man's voice. SOS. Help me. He was panicked, strained, desperate. "I'm stuck on a cliff. The sasa is too deep. I can't climb up. Please, pick me up." He mentioned a helicopter. He mentioned being trapped. He never mentioned anyone else. The voice was unmistakably male. The room fell silent. The bones belonged to a woman. The voice belonged to a man. The SOS sign suggested immense physical effort, and none of it fit together. Authorities attempted to explain it away. Perhaps the bones were misidentified. Perhaps the tapes belonged to someone else. Perhaps multiple hikers were involved. But nothing concrete surfaced. Days later, the site was cleared. The case was nearly closed, until a journalist arrived. Koyo Aburatani, a Japanese reporter fascinated by unexplained disappearances, travelled to Mount Asahi Dake to investigate independently. He didn't expect to find anything new, but 165 feet north of the SOS sign, buried beneath foliage and roots, he uncovered a hole. Inside were more belongings: 2 cameras, a notebook, and a driver's license. The name on it was Kenji Iwamura. He was 24 years old, from Konan City, over 800 miles away. Police were notified immediately. Kenji Iwamura had gone missing years earlier after hiking Mount Asahi Dake alone. He checked into a lodge at the base of the mountain, ignored warnings of an incoming storm, and set out anyway. He never returned. His family had waited weeks, then months, then years. Now, his belongings were found beside a mysterious SOS sign built from nearly 4 tons of wood. Authorities felt confident. Finally, a name. Finally, a story that made sense. They contacted Kenji's parents. They showed them the backpack. They recognized it. They told them about the tapes. They played the recording. And the parents shook their heads. That was not their son's voice. Despite this, police proceeded. They claimed bone identification could be inaccurate. They declared Kenji the builder of the SOS sign. And within 11 days, the case was officially closed. Years later, the bones were quietly re-examined. This time, the conclusion changed. They belonged to a man, type A blood. No explanation was given for the reversal. No announcement was made. No reopening of the case occurred. And to this day, the bones have never been formally identified. Which leaves only questions. How did a single injured hiker transport thousands of pounds of timber? Why was no axe or saw ever found? Why does the voice on the tape not match Kenji or the bones? Why were 2 hikers rescued from the same mountain, unaware of a massive SOS built nearby? And why did authorities close the case so quickly? There is one landmark on Mount Asahi Dake that may explain how multiple people ended up lost in the same place. Safe Rock. A large boulder hikers use to orient themselves. At Safe Rock, you turn right to reach the summit, but beside it sits another boulder, identical in shape. Locals call it Fake Safe Rock. Turning right there sends you south, into cliffs, bamboo thickets, and terrain that erases all sense of direction. In recent years, a rope has been placed to warn hikers, but years ago, there was nothing. It's believed the Tokyo hikers made this mistake. It's believed Kenji made this mistake, which raises another possibility, that Kenji wasn't alone, that somewhere in the fog he encountered another hiker, that one of them was injured, that the other had the strength, or tools, to build the sign. That one stayed behind. That one left to find help. And that neither ever knew what happened to the other. Perhaps the SOS sign wasn't built by one person. Perhaps it was built by 2. And perhaps one of them is still out there, lost to the mountain, waiting.